All right, guys, here we are to talk about Season 5, Episode 28 of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, this might be the first time ever that something has come back from a previous episode, or no?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, they actually call it out.
Yeah, I think it might be the first callback.
Yeah.
It's not the first callback. I've never seen this episode, so
Okay.
The first callback I'd ever seen was in the Forrest Whitaker Twilight Zone. They did a callback to the Wish You Into the Cornfield, and it was his daughter.
Oh, okay, but that's a callback to the other series, or it's a...
It was the exact guy, I think, that played
Yeah.
the kid, played the adult in that
But it's
one.
like the modern,
I think.
it's like the 90s one calling back to the 60s one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
This is the first time in its own.
This is like like they're running out of ideas. So like this is about like a puppet, like a dummy ventriloquist thing. And my first thought was, that's the same one that you used before, you cheap bastards. And then like the next line is he goes, oh yes, the last guy you had left you for that. And then I'm like, oh okay. I guess it's supposed to be the same.
Shove it in, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the same one, I guess. Whatever.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. So maybe just like another short story about a possessed or like whatever doll.
I didn't much care for the first time they showed this guy, so this one I didn't think was as good as that one, and I was
This
like,
was worse than that one. It wasn't quite the same thing,
No.
and that's fine, but it didn't like benefit from that really at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's an Irishman who's like renting a room, the whole situation, and the puppet's like, "Go do crimes, dude." And then he does, and then when he gets caught, he just confesses and says, "I'm crazy. Look at this puppet."
This was more like the basis for like that character in Batman, the ventriloquist guy.
Wait, the Riddler? Okay.
No, it was the ventriloquist name.
I know.
The
Puppet Master or
What's his name?
whatever?
Muggsy. I forgot the name of the puppet.
Mm.
But he had the scar on his face.
The point,
Mr. Scarface. I think that was his name, actually.
The point of all this is supposed to be that you're like, is he crazy? Is the puppet real? What's going on? But here, like halfway through, they show the puppet like pacing back and forth, which could just be his like crazy mind or whatever.
Sure.
But it's still like, like that's not really.
But then it talks to the girl, so it can't be.
Well, unless she caught the crazy.
That's how it works.
From the guy, yeah. So there's this obnoxious little girl throughout the whole episode who's like messing with him and rooting around his stuff, right? And long story short,
No locks on those doors, it seems like.
I don't know.
What's
Well,
happening
no,
here?
she grabbed the key. I had the same thought. She reaches into like a little bowl in like the kitchen and then like walks out, and I was like, aha! But no, like the whole punchline, the whole like Twilight Zone whole like thing is that at the end, like the doll starts talking to the kid as if now we're gonna go, and he's like, you could run away, steal your mom's money, send it to me.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dial
At the end
now.
of this season, there'll be one more.
Yeah, with her hitchhiking, holding
In
a
Venezuela
holding
with
a
a doll.
trunk. Yeah. Very like so like this.
No, she'll just be holding it by one hand and dragging it, because
Okay.
that's how
like
kids
a horror
do.
movie or whatever.
Yeah.
She was such like not a kid. It was such like a whole thing.
If any little actress deserves to get a punch in the face, it was that one.
But that means she was effective though. Right?
Exactly.
And
But I
she
do
like
think
did her job well.
that's just who she is.
Oh yeah, no. She's worse off camera.
Yeah.
She has to like
Reel it
dial it
back,
back
yeah.
a little bit when she goes on camera to play these roles. No, like any like so like I don't I almost said any redeeming qualities in this episode whatsoever.
Not
but
really.
I don't want to be that harsh, I guess. But
like the main thing of the episode is the guy's like, oh, I know, we'll go rob the place I was just at, where like not only could the person recognize me, but if I get caught, I'll say, oh, I'm here for this meeting I don't have. That's not an alibi.
Yeah, I was like, well, if the guard catches me, I'll just identify myself and do my best to remind him of when he would have seen me earlier. And then, like, he's like, oh, it's that other Irish puppeteer. Like, he can't do that. He's holding up. There's a whole thing.
His name is written on the side.
Yeah, it's a whole. It's like the worst plan ever. Exactly. Which like I was like, oh, is that going to be the thing? Is the puppet like trying to get him arrested? Because he's done with him or something like that. But they don't. I'm not
I
going
don't
to say
think so.
like.
I think they're just inept idiots.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm not gonna say that that's not alluded to, but that's not like the punchline, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's maybe where your brain is supposed to go. Like, there's a talking ventriloquist dummy, just going around the country, trying to find the perfect host.
Because to what end is this even happening? You can't be mad at the guy because his shtick is bad. If you're a player in the game, why don't you say to do it better then? Like, I don't understand what his issue was.
I thought that was so like the last guy went crazy and like ended up being like he was dressing as a puppet and like he was in control type of weird thing or whatever, right? Right?
I didn't remember him leaving him for a girl.
No,
I remember
not at
him
all.
being a puppet at the end.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So this implies, right? We're gonna like deep dive here. So there's a lot to unpack. Much like if you had a dummy in a big trunk, there's a lot to unpack here.
That's
Much
like this episode. It has one thing.
There's one thing to unpack. No, like that implies that like things didn't work out there. Yeah. But like I don't understand what the puppet wants. It just has like this lust for
chaos.
For what? Yeah, like I don't understand. Because I understand like, oh, you're not cutting it. I have to trade like up. Right? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't find another hard on his luck person trying to make it in like showbiz and like, hey, you and me, I'll be the puppet, don't worry. I'll write all the jokes, right? That would be this whole thing where he finds some like idiot who like he can manipulate more easily. Because the Irish guy, it seemed like he was like, no, the jokes are good, trust me, or something like that. And he was like, you're an idiot. So I thought that was going to be the thing. It's like, I write the jokes now. But that's what happened last time where they switched roles. Is this whole, right?
No, it's not much there. There's not really a good twist. There's just a pathetic dude sobbing about how he committed a crime.
Yeah, confessing basically completely.
Instantly, yeah.
And being like, oh, you said we're in this together. Tell him. And the doll's just like sitting there like a doll, which is okay.
Wasn't a good episode for me.
This was not a good episode.
I didn't enjoy it. I was like, all right, is it over yet? Are we getting to another thing?
And like some episodes feel like you're doing all these things, and we say, oh, it really suffered because like it didn't have enough time to develop all of its things. But this is the opposite, where it's like nothing really happens. And
it went in too many directions. I'm like, just narrow it down to one thing, and maybe like if you're gonna do a part 2 of an episode, you finally have time to explain some things. Maybe let me know about this puppet's origin. Maybe let me know where he came from.
Maybe somebody smashes an amulet, something like that. You can do a little thing.
Maybe his end goal is to be released from this puppet, or whatever. Is he a person imprisoned in this? Is he an inanimate object that just happens to have a soul? Like, what is his deal?
Right.
I'd like to know. And you had an extra 22 minutes to give me something.
Perhaps a traveling circus with some sort of hex voodoo stuff going on comes into town.
Sure.
There's other dolls, maybe. Something.
No, this episode has nothing.
It's
just a sad thing when like you're like, okay, this is of all the episodes to pick to expound upon, you chose this one.
Ultimately, the biggest disappointment is that and I think it's the only one. I could be wrong. Maybe there's some less direct or like Easter eggy things, but I feel like this is the only one. Assuming I was gonna say it has to be a continuation. It can't not be, right? We're not
at the very least, this would be the biggest Easter egg of using the same puppet again.
And then having like, oh, I've had previous owners, and this is my thing, or something like that. Such a waste to do that for this is like the bottom line. So not a good episode, sorry to say. Hopefully next time, better.
Yes. All right, guys, that's our thoughts on this episode of Twilight. Tell us in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.